Excellencies, honorable members of parliament, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, happy Europe Day. Let me start with this, as today we are celebrating Europe Day, the 9th of May, the Schuman Declaration, which has launched the European initiative, starting with the establishment of the European Steel and Coal Community in 1951, followed in 1957 by the European Economic Community, and so on. Now we have the European Union, and hopefully in the future we will have a stronger European Union. I will say more later on, but without ado, I would like to give now the floor for a welcome address to Professor Spiridon Floraitis, who is the director of the EPLO and the president of the board of directors.
Thank you, George, for giving me the floor. Dear friends, ministers, members of parliament, welcome to the European Public Law Organization, to the EPLO. The day is important for us because you came here. And it is not a way of saying kind words to our to the people who accept to work with us, but it is because it is true. First of all, it is the Day of Europe. But secondly, we are collaborating today with people from the civil society working for the empowerment of women. And this organization has a strong ether into promoting women empowerment, not just by studying the issue, but because we are an organization where I believe all the leading positions are occupied by women. And it is not because we made them a favor. Everything in this organization is taken according to merit. So we are very happy to be able to tell you that what you are going to talk about today, we believe that this organization, we have turned it into reality. And as I said, we did not make any particular effort for that. It came because when we had exams to find the right people, women got the jobs. So we are happy that today we can say a few words about that to you. But I would like to take this opportunity, I know that the program is too tight, to tell you what is the European Public Law Organization. Just to tell you where you are here today, hosted by us, and we're very, very happy about that. The European Public Law Organization is an international organization. It was created by an international treaty, the only international organization ever been proposed by Greece. Greece proposed in 2004 to the nations of the world to join in for creating an international organization. And in 2007, the three first countries which had ratified the treaty went by order of ratification: Greece, Italy, and Cyprus. So in 2007, when the three ratifications came, instruments of ratification came to the depository, which is the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs, this international organization came into life. Today, we have 14 countries which have gone through the constitutional provisions, and they have joined in. The last country which joined in was Ukraine in times of war, and we are very proud to be able to tell you that now that we are speaking, the headquarters agreement is pending in the parliament in Kiev for because they are giving us physical presence in Kiev. EPLO, God willing, we're going we will be present in Kiev as from the coming months. Another agreement which we signed for joining in is with Capo Verde. A few weeks ago, we signed with Capo Verde. You know, Capo Verde is a small country in the ocean, in the west of Africa, which is very important, not only because of the political and geographical position, but also because it is the leading exemplary democracy in Africa. And we wanted that the first country from Africa to join the EPLO to be the country which has achieved levels of democracy equal, if not even better, to those which we know in our continent. The EPLO works for the promotion of law and governance in Europe and in the world. It is a project which started 35 years ago and which regroups the best people from all over Europe and now from all over the world. It is a powerful network of people who constitute our scientific council. We've been very lucky to, 4 of them, to have become or to be today presidents of the Republic. And a few of them prime ministers, etc. At the moment, we are having an office in Rome, a regional branch in Cascais, Lisbon, a regional branch in Tbilisi, Georgia, and we hope that soon we will be established in Kiev. So those are a few words, and I will, sorry, Sofia, we are waiting. We are waiting. We are very lucky to have very active in our ranks the President Radev. And he never forgets us, he always supports, he always gives the advice, etc. But I hope that now in the new political environment of the country will also organize our physical presence. We have a representative in Bulgaria whom we have given the title of ambassador to, George Kremlis. And but we need also to be given premises, right? So anyway, we have created a university, the European Law and Governance School. It is headquartered in Rome. Honorary president is President Mattarella himself. He did the opening of that university in the Quirinale in 2016. And we have also created the Global Rule of Law Commission, headquartered in Cascais, under the aegis of the President of Portuguese Republic, Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa. And we create very closely, hand in hand with the United Nations. So I would be most indebted if you take the time to go into our website and please go And please be informed about us. And we will be very happy if you invest a little of your enthusiasm into what we try to do. The doors are open, and because the doors are open, we have achieved a few things in this effort of our lives. Thank you very much. I talked too much.
Thank you very much, Professor Floraitis. I would like now to give the floor to the President of Women Act, Ms. May Zani, for a welcome address. This event is organized by the Circular Economy and Climate Institute of the EPLO in cooperation with two NGOs, the Greek NGO Women Act, represented by May Zani, and the Bulgarian and Maria, yes, Yannou, the co-chair and co-founder, and More Women in Power. This is what we need, represented by Evelina Tsileva, the Bulgarian NGO. And I must say that for Women Day on the 8th of March, we organized a great event. I had the privilege to be there. More Women in Power and the European Commission office in Sofia, a great event about the role of women, and I represented the EPLO there, and it was a great event. The floor is yours, May.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to hear more about great events all over Europe and to see more audiences with men included in these events, and also to see more panels with more women than men in them. This is... It is the case. It makes me very happy. First of all, thank yous to Professor Floraitis, to Mr. George Kremlis for the idea and for the invitation to be here, to my friend Evelina Tsileva for all the help and everything that she's done to organize this event in Athens with us. Women Act was founded in 2017 by 8 women co-founders. Our sole aim is to empower women in the public sphere of Greece. What we have seen is that we can do this even better through partnerships. Since we started off, we've had more than 100 such partnerships with business associations, with government entities, with international organizations, and of course with civil society organizations. So we're very pleased to continue on this tradition today, on Europe Day. I would say that we're not alone, and we're not only in Athens. We have 15 hubs all over Greece, which are very active. We have great women that serve as our ambassadors. We have great men, because we believe that men are also part of the equation when we talk about women empowerment, and we're very pleased that we see a few of them here today. I would also like to say that the tools we provide for women are our leadership academies. Dr. Maria Yannou, who's here, the co-founder of Women Act, is responsible for those. We believe that women also lack the networks they should, so we have networking aperitifs here in Athens and elsewhere. We just had last week one in Thiva, just outside Athens, an hour away. We also have a mentoring program called Pathfinder to enable women to help each other and inspire each other. We have had 2 books out with other organizations, followed by a TV series. You might have seen those, called I Am Dangerous and Little Dangerous, and it was on Greek public TV. We're very happy about that. We have had big campaigns, such as the No More Manel campaign, where we believe that we should have more women in panels, and not just as moderators, but as speakers themselves. We have created platforms, because during COVID, we realized that women, not just in Athens, but all over Greece, have a need for tools. So one of them was for women candidates, enable them to run and to design their own political campaigns. It was designed for 700 women, so we're very pleased about that. Another one that we've launched in September is called W Action. It enables women to self-propose themselves as experts in a field, so they can be invited also to speak in events, and they can also sit on board, because we don't have enough women board members, in case you haven't noticed that. Because at the bottom line is that Women Act believes that the best we can do for women is to continue with education, such as the leadership academies, to create networks of women helping and inspiring each other, to do huge campaigns for the public, because very often some issues that we talk amongst ourselves are not as, the public is not as aware as it should be. And finally, none of this would be possible if it's just women. We believe that men are a big part of the equation, and we also believe that we need more and more partners. And any occasion, such as this one, which is a great one because it's Europe Day, is a great one to celebrate and also to discuss about the state where women are, not just in Greece, but all over Europe, because I think many issues are the same here and elsewhere. So the floor is now to Evelina to tell us a few things too. Thank you.
Dear ministers, dear member of the parliament, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, happy Europe Day. It is a great pleasure and honor to be here today. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to my partners in this initiative, Mr. George Kremlis and Ms. Meizani, who both with their undoubted contribution and expertise help within the development of sustainable and justice policies in the European institutions, organizations, and beyond. Today's conference is dedicated to the transformative role of women when it comes for being qualified and rational leaders in 21st century. A time full of unpredictable events which shift the world order. We all could agree that nowadays it seems that women's organizational abilities may bring the needed synergy of strength and driving force in the European Union. Indeed, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights asserted the equal rights of men and women a long time ago. However, even today, we need to continue with our constant efforts to create a practical balance which will strengthen our continent.
Sorry.
I share the vision that women may help build better and various strategies and policies in all the urgent fields which concerns Europe lately, like the issues that appear in the threatened economy, the peace and security, the sustainable environment we all want to achieve. One of our current priorities in More Women in Power is to support more women in reaching decision-making positions in the Bulgarian government, which we believe is essential for building more representative and effective leadership. I do believe that women are capable of combining critical thinking with emotionally intelligent leadership, something that appears to be lacking in the governments of many states and nations within the European Union. Trusting that despite your various views and opinions, we could be all committed to putting women not behind the men, but next to them, at the center of the discussion towards conflict prevention and peace building. I hope today's discussion will inspire new perspectives of successful leading European Union. Thank you.
I would like to thank both Meizani and Evelina Tsileva for their introductory speeches. Indeed, the role of women in the European integration is extremely important. Women were not at the time among the founders of the European Union. We had Schuman, Jean Monnet, Gasperi, Adenauer, men leading the European integration process at the time. But nowadays, the face of Europe is only women. Think, von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, a woman. The President of the European Parliament, Metsola, a woman from a small member state, from Malta. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Vice President of the European Commission, Kallas, former Prime Minister of Estonia. So you see, only women, they are the face.
That means that Europe will go better.
Yeah, yeah, and you will have the opportunity to substantiate this more. So, without ado, I would like to welcome the Deputy Minister of Migration and Asylum, Ms. Sevi Volodaki, to thank her because she came directly from the airport. She was today in Crete for the inauguration with the Prime Minister of the northern motorway axis linking from A to Z the northern part of the island of Crete, a huge project with a great contribution both in terms of environmental protection but also accidents prevention. She was there. We are grateful to you. I know that you have another appointment, so without ado, I would like to give you the floor, and then we will have the video of Minister Olga Kefalogianni projected. Okay. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is a true honor to stand before you today to discuss an essential topic that intertwines sustainability, innovation, and empowerment women in circular entrepreneurship. This topic is of growing importance, not only in shaping the future of our economy, but also in ensuring that we build a world that is just, resilient, and capable of overcoming the environmental challenges we face. The circular economy is not just a buzzword. It is the blueprint for a sustainable future. Unlike the traditional linear economy, where we take, make, and dispose, the circular economy proposes a shift to practices that regenerate, reuse, and recycle our resources. This paradigm holds the key to building sustainable, resilient, and fair development across the globe. Excuse me. At the heart of this transformation, we see women increasingly taking the lead in sectors that combine environmental responsibility with social innovation. From agriculture, thank you. Excuse me. From agriculture to technology, from textiles to manufacturing, women are spearheading initiatives that promote sustainability in groundbreaking ways. Across island communities, women are not just participants, but pioneers in the circular economy. They are leading the charge with initiatives such as textile recycling, local product processing, and reuse of raw materials. These women are creatively transforming local industries, introducing new models that are both innovative and sustainable. In many of these small and medium-sized enterprises, female leadership is not just about running businesses. It's about redefining the way we think about production and consumption. Women entrepreneurs are introducing practices and prioritize the life cycle of products, focusing on sustainability, waste reduction, and resource efficiency. Their ability to manage resources creatively and efficiently is a driving force for innovation, and perhaps most importantly, it comes with a low environmental footprint, which is vital for the future of our planet. But as we celebrate the achievements of women in circular entrepreneurship, we must also acknowledge the critical role the state plays in supporting their efforts. To truly unlock the potential of women-led circular ventures, we must create an environment that nurtures and supports these initiatives. The government could contribute by providing targeted financial instruments, such as microcredits and grants, to help women-led circular startups get off the ground and grow, investing in educational programs that focus on green skills, sustainable innovation, and circular economy practices to equip women with the knowledge they need to succeed. Promoting collaborations between institutions, including chambers of commerce, universities, and local organizations to raise awareness and provide support for women entrepreneurs in this field. Such efforts can make a significant difference, ensuring that women are not just participants in the circular economy, but leaders and innovators within it. Equally important is the need to showcase and elevate role models. We need to tell the stories of the women who are leading these remarkable initiatives. By sharing these success stories from across the country, we can inspire future generations of female entrepreneurs who are ready to follow in their footsteps. But role models alone are not enough. The creation of collaborative networks among women entrepreneurs is also crucial. These networks could provide a platform for sharing best practices, offering mentorship, and providing the mutual support necessary for women to thrive in a competitive entrepreneurial landscape. Together, these networks build a sense of community, empowering women to learn from each other and work together to overcome challenges. In conclusion, it is clear that women are not just agents of change. They are architects of a new economic model, a model that combines innovation, responsibility, and sustainability. We cannot achieve the transition to a circular, sustainable future without the leadership and ingenuity of a woman. The work being done by women in circular entrepreneurship is not just about creating sustainable businesses. It is about building the foundation of a society that values equity, responsibility, and environmental stewardship. Supporting women in circular entrepreneurship is not just a matter of gender equality. It is a strategic choice for national development, for sustainability, and for a better future. Let us continue to support, celebrate, and empower these incredible women who are leading the way toward a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, I would like to thank Minister Voloudaki for her thorough speech and for the encouraging message as regards women leadership in circular entrepreneurship and in developing the circular economy as the new economic model which will boost energy transition, promote green transition, and ultimately enable us to reach climate neutrality. This is the objective of the Green Deal, and in that respect, the role of women, as you have highlighted, is extremely important. We rely on you. I always refer to the concept of circular households, circular citizens, and of course, circular women are to be the drivers and the protagonists of this process. So thank you very much. Just to say that Minister Voloudaki holds a very difficult portfolio, the one of and sensitive, yes, extremely sensitive, the one of migration and asylum. And in that respect, the woman dimension in this portfolio is extremely important. And we are happy that emotional intelligence is there, because you need emotional intelligence to be able to manage such a portfolio. For your information, we have an institute on migration and asylum within the EPLO, and Marcos Karavias is the head of our institute, and we will be very happy to support you in your work, not only as regards migration, but also as regards climate migration, because this is in my portfolio, as I am in charge of climate, and the climate migration happens already. It's not to happen, it happens already, and there is a very big question mark on the status of climate migrants, because they do not benefit from asylum rights, but probably in the future one needs to consider also this dimension in the difficult times that our planet is facing. So, Madam Minister, feel free to leave us. I know that you have another commitment. And now I would like us before passing to the first panel, to project the video of Minister Olga Kefalogianni, who is our Minister of Tourism. She was expected to be here with us, but unfortunately she has another commitment outside Athens, and she's sharing this video with us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to address this inspiring event on the occasion of Europe Day, a day dedicated to the celebration of Europe's achievements, but also to the diversity of its people, cultures, and ideas. Today's agenda speaks to a dynamic truth. Europe's future must be equally shaped by the leadership, aspirations, and vision of women in every sector. Throughout Europe, we witness the pivotal role women play in crafting the sustainable and inclusive future we all strive for. In sectors like tourism, one of our continent's most human-centered industries, and far beyond. Greece is actively aligning with these sustainability and inclusion goals. We are investing in training and promoting policies that elevate both environmental and gender-conscious standards. In terms of tourism, we are embedding circular economy principles into our strategy, promoting local sourcing, environmental protection, and climate-smart travel infrastructure. This transition toward sustainability is not only policy-driven, it is powered by people and certainly by women who are leading the way. In Greece and across Europe, women in the field of circular entrepreneurship are reimagining traditional business models to prioritize sustainability, local empowerment, and regenerative practices. We are seeing remarkable examples of female entrepreneurs transforming rural economies, preserving cultural heritage, and revitalizing ecosystems through circular business models. Beyond economic activity, these are expressions of values that align deeply with the European Green Deal and the broader agenda for a resilient and just Europe. But the impact of women goes beyond entrepreneurship. It extends to governance and the shaping of what we might call the new architecture of the European Union. From policy making to economic leadership, women are redefining outcomes. As we rethink governance, sustainability, and innovation, we must ensure women are not only included, but empowered to lead. It is certain that we cannot build a resilient, inclusive, and circular Europe without the full participation of women in policy design and institutional leadership. Without doubt, gender parity is a prerequisite for effective climate and economic policies and for building sustainable societies and economies. Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that for Europe to continue as a model of cooperation, democracy, and progress, we must fully recognize and support the role of women, not just as contributors, but as architects of our shared future. And let us not forget, Europe is not built in institutions alone. It is built in communities, in classrooms, in workplaces, in family homes, and yes, in the actions of women who are reshaping our continent. This year's Europe Day is a chance to reaffirm our commitment to inclusion, to sustainability, and to the empowerment of women as leaders in both circular economies and civic life. Because what we celebrate today is more than just Europe's legacy. It is about the promise of its future. In closing, I would like to commend the organizers and participants. I look forward to the insights and collaborations that will emerge from today's important discussions. Thank you for your attention.
Well, she is not with us, but we all thank her. That was a great speech. As you can see, she has a vision about developing circular green tourism, as we call it. I call it circular tourism. It is the heavy industry of this country, and we really want to support her in her ideas. She's one of the most successful ministers of this government, and I hope that in our future event on the 2nd and 3rd of October, the Circular Gaia event, she will be with us on a circular tourism panel together with Minister Laritsa Dinkova, who was holding the tourism portfolio of Bulgaria in a very successful way. So without ado, I will give her the floor. But before that, I was saying before that the current faces of Europe are women. But since the creation of the European Steel and Coal Community and until now, a lot of important women have also contributed to the European integration. One of them that you all know was Simone Veil, who is a survivor of the Holocaust. She was in a concentration camp. She was, for me, the most successful president of the European Parliament. Through and thanks to her experience, she has valorized and highlighted the human dimension, the human rights, the gender ideas, the dignity, the ethical dimension of the European integration. And of course, Lady Ashton was the first Minister of Foreign Affairs, the High Representative at the time, who was also very, very successful. I also had the pleasure, when I was in DG Environment, to have as Commissioner Margot Wallström, who was a very, and we had meetings with Dionysia Vierinopoulos and her in a very cooperative manner. Margot was the one who had the idea to go for a blood test, her own blood test, to find out whether in her blood there were heavy metals or any other substances due to environmental pollution. And thanks to this, which was an event, in the media, this was the most important, let's say, event at the time. We were not yet in the current development of the social media. Thanks to this, she has developed a European regulation, the REACH one, which was on the chemicals and on the chemical substances in everything, and how we can protect human health and human beings from chemicals. So, too many women in the European integration, and of course, the gender is very present in the European institutions. There are more women than men. In Greece, as Professor Flogaitis has said, we have more women judges. The majority of judges in Greece are women. This is a reality, and of course, we do have areas where things need to be better developed, and of course we count on May and on Maria through their awareness raising and campaigns to manage this. And in Bulgaria, because in Bulgaria, unfortunately, there is only one woman minister and a couple of deputy ministers, so there is a lot to be done there. Now, without ado, I move to our first panel, which is Women as Circular Entrepreneurship Leaders. In reality, this is a panel on the role of women in promoting environmental protection, because the big umbrella is the Green Deal, the environment. This is the legal basis for the lawyers, and under this, we protect climate. We have developed the new economic model, which is circular economy. So in reality, what we want to hear is how women can promote environmental protection, environmental awareness, make all of us aware of the challenges that our planet is facing. And I regret to say, because I'm following this, that because of the wars, our planet has suffered a lot. We are trying to cut emissions to protect emissions which lead to CO2 emissions, which lead to the climate crisis. But on the one hand, we are cutting emissions. On the other hand, we have the wars. And the wars lead to more emissions, lead to emissions of dangerous substances and of toxic substances. And they have a very heavy, enormous environmental footprint. So this is another challenge that in COP30 in Belém, and we will be there for sure with Dionysia, I hope other colleagues will be present. This will be COP30 in Belém in Brazil, that we will be able not only to promote more circular economy and to promote more the goals as regards national determined contributions, but also refer to the impacts of the wars and how we can, and I stop here, amend the rules on the law of the war to protect the environment. Because there are humanitarian rules in the law of the war. Unfortunately, they are not respected, but the rules exist. So we need to do the same for our climate and for the environment. I would like to start by giving the floor to Ms. Zarica Dinkova, Minister of Tourism of the Republic of Bulgaria in the period 2023-2024, who has yes, and Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, so she had a double portfolio, and has been very active in many fields also of the political life of Bulgaria. So, dear Zarica, the floor is yours.
Dear guests, first of all, let me also say Happy Europe's Day, because nowadays our lifestyle as a females is very much actually marked by the Union of Europe, by the efforts that were put to build this solidarity, transparency, and to ensure more rights for all the citizens of the European Union. I was also to mention the name of Simone Veil, because she is really an emblem of the European integration. She was amazing, and it's important to say that quite many years after the founding treaty, she actually took the position as the first president of the European Parliament. It was in 1979. So you can see what was the long period that she wasn't. And actually, I think Metsola is now the third one. So not that many, actually, for so many years of existence of the Union. I would like to thank to the hosts of this event. It's my honor to be in such a day surrounded by so many wonderful and splendid people here who give their best to promote important causes for all of us to have more healthy and more happy life, actually, because this is the meaning of the sustainability at its core, to have the resources ensured and to have the for our future generations, and to help ourselves to thrive as a humankind. I would like to actually point out what is not what is the cost of not being sustainable, and what is the cost of non-converting to the circular economy model. As it was already mentioned, it's like to produce, to run after the growth, to consume more, and after to use more resources, and after to produce more, to consume more. And we can actually see, like when you turn behind to see the clothes that were produced and that were worn by our grandmothers, they're now much more precious than what we go and what we buy with the fast fashion. And they try to convince us that they're sustainable, like the big giants that produce, that show us the clothing from recycled plastic. But still, this recycled plastic is even worse for the nature, because we are washing this, and the microplastics, they're going to the waters, they're super contaminative, and they're actually, at the end, they are finishing in our blood vessels and in the blood vessels of our children. I maybe should mention that actually my political genesis is a green one, but I stepped apart for it because my goal was to have like healthier environment. And I said once that I will be a green until the green politics will become horizontal, and they will enter all the agenda of the society and the politics. And I think we reached this moment, and no matter, of course, we are facing many cases of greenwashing. I am not a defender of having green politics just to have them, just to be green. This doesn't work, in my opinion. It leads to some kind of extremes of very niche politics, and this is what I personally don't like. I am very pragmatic, like the majority of women, and this is the point, because I don't know if you have this saying, we have it in Bulgarian. And as a product of the European integration, I did my studies in Spain and in the diplomatic school and Complutense University with a scholarship from their Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So what I know about the Spanish is like the Castellan language is that it's very similar in sounding to Greece. It is actually very similar. The idioms are very close to the Bulgarian, so maybe this is also something, maybe we have, like the Bulgarian and the Greeks, maybe we have similar idioms, I don't know, we will check now. So we have this saying, grandma knows 2 and 200, which means that our grandmothers knew how to survive with few resources and with abundant resources, and they can make their lives and they can ensure the sustainability of the households, what we now call the resilience of the systems. So they were used to do it for centuries, actually. And they were the ones who were ensuring the continuity of when their males were missing for wars, for expeditions traditionally. They were ensuring actually the stability and the sustainability, and they knew how to do it. And somehow they were transferring to their daughters and to their granddaughters. So in some way we are growing with this attitude to know how to optimize the resources and to be brave enough to innovate. And because some of the best innovation actually now are some forgotten ancestral and traditional ways to use the resources, to preserve them. This is the role of the traditional role of the females, which is somehow now into the modern way to be. The females are always supportive for the new, let's say, societal models. We know that if you want to bring back a society, you first attack the females, because this is the easiest way to bring a society back. And we have good, we have also bad examples. Like as a good example, I would give now, like in many other cases, I would not give this example, but I've seen with my eyes how the Saudi Arabia has thrived since they gave a little bit more rights to their females, and we all see they started to participate. And we see some decline actually in even our European societies, since for the recent years, the basic security of the female in their everyday lives has deteriorated, and this is something which we should not allow to happen. We really need to be supportive to each other. We really need to be working together. I am not only like a big fan, but I'm standing for the female empowerment. In every case, I had the opportunity to choose my teams. They were maybe 90–95% consisting of females. And I really enjoy working and partnering with females. So if we really want to have strong society, we really need to have more female in power, in leading position in universities, in big companies, everywhere, because this brings efficiency, flexibility, resilience, and makes our societies more tolerant. So more female in power, more resilient society, in my opinion. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation, which was a one presenting your own experiences and your own contribution on all the issues that we are discussing today. I noted solidarity. Solidarity is extremely important, and it can be better expressed by women. I noted the ancestral intelligence. Our grandparents were using the circular economy patterns. Subsequently, through the globalization, those patterns have been lost. And I do believe that women can be also the guarantors of the traditions in the families. At least I remember the contribution of my mother in that respect. She was sharing with us the tradition and the values of the ancestors. So in that respect, their role is extremely important, and ancestral intelligence is also extremely important for the protection of the climate.
How
and
to reuse and to reduce, they were masters.
Absolutely. On that, even using rainwater, even recycling, and too many other examples. And then microplastics, which will make the bridge with the next speakers, because we do have a microplastics problem in the sea with litter pollution, with microplastics that have invaded the food chain. A lot of fish now has microplastics. And we find a lot of microplastics in the sewerage. I mean, in the wastewater, there are a lot of microplastics, because if you wash in the washing machine plastic, let's say dresses or whatever, the microplastics reach the wastewater treatment plant and ultimately the sea. So we have a problem there, which is more important. So let me now move to the next speaker. Afterwards, I will open the floor, because it would be good to have an interaction. I do believe that we have time. So the next speaker is Dionysia Theodora Avgerinopoulou. I know her since too many years. I don't remember how many. She was always brilliant. She had a great career. Not only she's a political leader, but she's also a technocrat. She's an environmental and a climate expert, because often you have politicians who claim to know and to have the expertise, but they don't. They have other advisors and people next to them. Isidora, as they call her, Dionysia, combines both. The political leadership and also the knowledge, a knowledge that she's always developing, because she's always learning. Every day we need to learn, to be informed, and this is the quality that she has. Currently, also in the previous parliament, she is the chair of the Environment and the Climate Committee of the Hellenic Parliament. She had a very important role as a special envoy of our Prime Minister on the Oceans, our Oceans initiative, and she has organized very, very successfully the Our Oceans initiative. It was 2 years?
A year ago.
A year ago,
Yes,
time is
last
flying.
April.
It was last year, it was one of the most successful Our Oceans event. So the link with, among other things, microplastics pollution is there. You will tell us much more, but of course you can share with us also your experiences on environmental protection and all what women can contribute in this process.
Thank you very much, George. And let me reveal how many years we know each other, because I just counted them. We know each other 26 years now.
26.
26 years, yes. And I say that because you are one of the persons that I really admire on a global level. and you are one of the most knowledgeable people that I have met about circular economy and environmental policy in general, including the integration issues of the European Union, because I know that when the European Union opened up its borders to accept new member states, George was there to educate other countries about the EU environmental law and the acquis communautaire, and help other countries join the European Union. And that's a great accomplishment by you and Europe in general, because Europe does have a lifestyle which is a sustainable lifestyle, and a lifestyle that respects the rights of the individual. And this is what we really wanted to share with the rest of the world. And I think that we have done that. And it's a great day today, the Europe Day, to celebrate the achievements of all these that Europe and all the European people together have done. So by saying that, and thank you very much for this, the invitation, and I really like to thank the invitation of the other co-organizers of this event. It's a great honor for me to be here today, because I am among you, great achievers and also friends, because by looking the people that have joined us today, I recognize also long-lasting friends and friends for a lifetime, so I'm double happy today. And because you mentioned the plastics issue and the microplastics, I would like to say that I'm really worried as a woman and as a mother, because we also have Mother's Day tomorrow to celebrate, because of one single photo that I've seen a couple of years ago, and I cannot still forget. It was a photo on Times Magazine of a fetus. It was provided by a doctor that was working on how microplastics through the ocean, through the food, enter our body. And through our body, we women, we give these microplastics to our fetuses, and the hearts and the lungs and the rest of the organs of this fetus, including the brain, they were already full of microplastics. So what are we going today to do? Are we going to create a new breed, human plastic body? I mean, yeah. It was really alarming, really shocking, and this is why if we feel that we women have a more advanced role of guarantors for the future generations, we really have to take action right now to stop the plastic and microplastic pollution. This is really important. And there is an upcoming treaty that the whole world under the UN is trying to negotiate and conclude these days. And obviously, we're not really succeeding to conclude. It is the Global Plastics Agreement. We thought that we might have an agreement to stop at least single-use plastics within 2025, and this is not obvious that this is happening. So if any of you are working on the international level or within your governments, in departments that are working with international multilateral environmental treaties, it is very good to spread the word that we have to ratify this treaty. And there is another treaty that soon we are going to ratify. Greece did it just yesterday. It is the so-called BBNJ treaty, which is the environmental treaty for the protection of the high seas in our oceans, 2/3 of our oceans. They need to be protected because up to now there is no such a legal regime. And why do I refer to this treaty? Because Europe is a leading continent for the ratification of this important treaty, combating, among other, the plastic pollution. And we belong to this group of countries that always are part of the coalition of ambition. Europe is very proud to celebrate the adoption of the Paris Agreement back in 2015 for climate change, and we did it. That happened because of Europe. And now, hopefully, we are going to succeed to ratify and enter into force the big treaty for the protection of our oceans. It is going to have like a big celebratory day on June 8th with the participation of our Prime Minister, Mr. Kyriakos Mitsotakis, and the President of France, Mr. Macron, and hopefully we're going to adopt this treaty. This is very, very essential for the environment. So Europe is indeed a very important leader, global leader for the environment. And Europe, of course, it's a very important leader for women and gender issues. Actually, as you recall better than me, Europe was there to adopt the very important regulation for women entrepreneurs and their obligatory participation to the decision-making models in entrepreneurships in large and multinational enterprises. There is a European Union regulation that is really forcing the multilateral enterprises to have among them women for the decision-making level. Because what the problem is right now, and it happens not only in businesses but also in politics and so on and so forth, is that yes, women are really achievers, and women, they're able to move forward in bigger and more important positions. But they're not there at the most high level when it is about policy and lawmaking, and especially the enterprises, they don't select women to be chairs at the board of directors when we have to take financial decisions. And this is happening also in politics, because you would see many women to be political leaders, like ministers and deputy ministers and secretary generals. But this is happening mainly in what we call soft portfolios. So we have women to be ministers in culture, in education. It is very good of tourism and a service. It was here before, the deputy minister, even in migration. But we think that they are able to mainstream only a gender and a sensitivity portfolio to this, to these ministries. How many ministers have you seen to be ministers of defense? A few, but not enough. Ministers of finance, because I'm not aware of many. I'm aware of some, but not aware of many. And even in the issues of environment, I will tell you that there are many ministers of environment around the world today, but not so many ministers of energy. So when people think that there is a very crucial portfolio that people should handle, then they give it out to men. That's a reality. But I would like to take a step ahead, because we are here, we have here very important people from not only Greece, but very friendly countries. And I would like to acknowledge the level of cooperation that we European women have among us. And I would like, since we have Cypriot representatives, to recall that there has been a Cypriot commissioner relevant to the environment, and that was Mrs. Androula Vasiliou, that held the portfolio of health, and health is very relevant to the environment, and she did a great job, and other Cypriot women in there, and also from Bulgaria, many important women that has joined the European Union. But personally, I owe part of my education and my environmental thought to a great Bulgarian woman. And her name I would like to mention is Maria Ivanova. Maria, she is a great professor at Yale University and Boston University, working when I was studying with her at Yale Center of Environmental Law and Policy. And she was a great inspiration for me. And not only that, but she was very decisive to make things change on the global level and on UNEP, on the United Nations Environment Program, that is a leading program of the United Nations for environmental issues. Maria was there starting from Sofia, joining the US to study, and then she became really a global thought leader on the environment. So thank you very much. We have really worked together, and thank you very much for bringing us here today to work more. But I would also like to make another comment, since obviously this is about personal experiences rather than, let's say so, like in general, talk about the environment and women leadership, that yes, we women, we have a very important role to play, and not only us, but usually it is us that do it, to be educators for our kids. I recall that back in COP 19, that was headed by Spain. Spain talked about women and the environment, but women as mothers and educators. This is very important because the way that people treat the environment, we learn it at either school or in our houses. And we have really to work more on that, and it is very important to focus more on environmental and sustainability education. And I have to say that I'm very happy that my son today, he made a correction to what I told him. We had some kind of papers, and I told him, you know, Aristotle, would you like to please put it in the trash bin? And he said, Mom, what are you saying? There is no trash bin, it is only recycling bin. So it is very important to understand that a part of our leadership roles, we have to really focus in our kids because they are going to save and shape the world in the future. So I don't really want to go through all the speech that I had prepared because just to save your time. But what I would like to say is that women are now really thriving in many sectors, including the ESGs, including renewable energy, including, and this is very important because people, they don't think about it, including finance. And there are some studies, especially from the World Bank and other institutions, that say that when we put women in decision-making positions regarding finance, either in the public or in the private sphere, then what they tend to be is that they tend to take decisions that are very environmentally sensitive, and they are leaders in ocean finance, in climate finance, in sustainability finance, and this is very important. Even very important enterprises such as Stanley Morgan and very important banks, they have placed in their sustainable portfolio women leaders. So it is very important to promote women to study finance, not only STEM, we have done it, but finance, because they are going to support more the environment and also themselves. And by closing, I would like to congratulate the two organizations that they are working today, the Women Act and the More Women in Power. And thank you very much for taking this action, because what women really need is advanced networking and advanced knowledge how to do things better. Thank you very much for organizing this event, and we always stand by you to support our common goal to save life on Earth.
Thank you, Dionysia, for this great presentation. I think it's always better not to use your notes because what you have in your brain is much more complex and promising. Let me say that although in our governments women do not hold heavy portfolios, as you have said, at the international scene, women do. Take Lagarde. Lagarde is the president of the European Central Bank. Take a Bulgarian lady, Georgieva. She is the president of the IMF, another successful former executive of UNESCO, Bokova. Yes, I also remember Meglena Kuneva. Meglena Kuneva was a very successful commissioner, and today I got a message from her, Happy Europe Day. I was very happy to receive it because Meglena is always thinking of me. And when I was in Sofia during this great event that we had with the European Commission and More Women in Power. I said the two things. When I started in DG Environment as young head of unit, I had the two women bosses, one director from Italy and subsequently a director from Belgium. And I learned a lot, indeed. They were both of them completely different styles, but both of them have taught me a lot, and I was really very happy to have them as directors. And I also had many commissioners, but two women commissioners. I had Rit Bjerregaard, the Danish commissioner for the environment, and then I had Wallström, the second one. I must say that with Wallström I had a much better relationship, but this is a gossiping story for other times with a glass of wine. Listen, as we have changed a little bit the program, there was discussion time foreseen at the end, but probably we can take one or two questions now. Then we will have the panel that will be moderated by Maria Iannou, and you can also take 2 or 3 questions, and then we will conclude briefly. Just to let you know that we will have a cocktail upstairs on the terrace. There is good wine. Thank you, May. Good food. Thank you, Evelina. And it will be also an opportunity to interact amongst you all. So, any questions to the two panelists or any interaction with the panel? I see very important ladies in the room. I have cooperated with them several times. Yes, a gentleman. Please tell us who you are and stand up so we can hear you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Almami Bangura. I am a Sierra Leonean, currently studying European law, master's in this institution. I've heard all of you speak, especially my lady here on the left. You've said we can have a resilient society with women at the helm of affairs. Sorry. That's very touching. And for me personally, I believe women, if given the opportunity, I believe they can perform very well. Especially in my country, I've been one of those persons who believe I want to see a society a Sierra Leone wherein we have Chief Justice as a woman, the President as a woman, and even the Attorney General. Because I believe in women so much that if we have them at the helm of affairs, to a very large extent, we'll have the results. Because women, by nature, we are very corrupt. So my question is, when it comes to the European Union international relations, what has been the role of women in the European Union in extending hands in the development of young ladies in third world countries? That's my question.
Thank you. Would you like to?
Just where are you from?
I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Would you like to reply?
I can take it on it because, actually, thank you for this question, and it's very close to my heart because one of my first positions within the European institutions was in development issues. And I've been working on many very, let's say, difficult topics like female circumcision. I think that Europe was and still is doing a lot of efforts to help the development of the women's rights in development countries. I think strategically, and I agree with you, this is the best investment that could be made for to create sustainability in the development countries, because this is also the best way to resolve the rest of the problems. The problem with migration, the problem with having more greener and sustainable and environmental friendly societies. And also I think that in Africa we have very good examples with female in power, and we underestimate them. You're closer to the ancestral, in the development countries, in Africa, in America, in Asia. In many cases, the females are closer to their ancestral and traditional ways to gain and to keep power. And sometimes it's not needed, there is not such a need to institutionalize, because the institutions, they are sort of guarantee. But the best way is to have the reality done, and not to have, for example, just empty institutions and proliferation of institutions, and at the end not to have any work done. I don't know if this somehow managed to
Yes.
answer your question.
Okay. Dionisia, yes. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to acknowledge the fact that many African countries, they have achieved gender equality much more than Europe, especially in politics. For example, South Africa has a rule of 50-50 participation in government, and other examples as well, Botswana and other countries, right? So, but what we have in Europe is a very institutionalized way of working with third countries. And there is a department of the European Union that relates with external relations. We have specific funds that are dedicated to many themes. One of these themes is gender equality. Another theme is climate and environment. So if anyone is interested into exploring ways where we could work together through, for example, EPLO would be an institution that could apply to work with another institution in your country and take some funds of the European Union to do so. So by starting here and being in touch with these organizations, including Women Act and the More Women in Power, you can take a very good example and transfer it to your country with your help and with the European Union funds. The EU is always open to this.
Okay. Your turn now, yes. Your name and where are you from?
Okay, hello everybody. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Cecilia Thomas. I'm coming from Sierra Leone, practicing barrister and solicitor of Sierra Leone. And also I am an advocate for women and girls. We have an organization in Sierra Leone named Lawyers. We means legal access for women, yearning for equality, rights, and justice, where we represent women and girls who are not moneyed because of the high rates of rape and sexual penetration we're having in Sierra Leone. So what I want to ask, I'm so happy attending such events like this. I actually want to understand how do you people deal with your challenges, looking at the synergy and the strength of driving force for women here in Europe. It's good to partner with African countries, the third world countries. We really look up to what we can learn and what we can derive from your roles and your energy in society. So I really want to look at, or I really want to know, how do you deal with your challenges when it comes to women empowerment and when it comes to women taking the lead on these different areas?
Thank you. I propose that we take a last question and then we reply globally. Dimitris Kolias, Ministry of Energy, climate expert, among other things.
Good afternoon. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to congratulate you, George, for being so brave and organizing this kind of initiative. And I would like to propose a toast to all these brave men that we are here today to worship the women that are leading. And a very small story for just half a minute. I always loved working and having women as a boss. I was the senior advisor to the Deputy Minister of Energy and Environment in Greece to 1 month earlier, and now I'm to the new Deputy Minister. He's a man, okay. I think we'll see what we can do with him, but it's okay, just joking. I have worked also with George and with Dionysia to the last COP28, 29. I can tell you something for Dionysia that she's here now. Sorry, but I have to tell a little of your secrets of success. Dionysia had the ability, when she was organizing the ocean, to multiply her team. They were 5 people, and they were working like 10 or like 15 or like 20. And she was multiplying also the time, the hours in the day. The day for the people working with Dionysia didn't have 24 hours. It was 48, 72, uncountable. And the last thing, they were really happy about it. They were seeing everything as a challenge or as an opportunity. So to you, and always have all this spark in your eyes and rule the world. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dimitri. Dimitri was a very successful advisor to the Deputy Minister of Energy, Alexandra Zdoukou, who was a very, very successful one. She's currently the spokesperson of Nea Demokratia, the political party of the ruling government. Thank you, Dimitri, for your point. I think we owe a reply to the young lady. You want to say just 2 words, and then we move to the next part. I think that the message that you can take home is that very important women are currently ruling the planet, because in the European Union we have 450 million citizens, and the leaders are women. Soon we will have the American ambassador in Greece. She's a lady appointed by President Trump. So again a woman. I do believe that the more women in power and Women Act are the messages of the future, and also the success stories, as Dionysia has said before, because I would add an additional consideration in the financing capacities of women, that with women there is less, not to say zero, corruption. And this is
Women
extremely important
Women in government, yeah, that's
to know.
true.
Yes, women in government are, let's say, sound and reasonable and transparent actors.
And more attacked because of this.
Yes. Do you want to add something more before we? Yes, please.
First of all, I would like to second what you just said, that women in government, they tend to be less corrupted than men, and there are studies about that. So it's not only allegations, definitely, because we join politics, not because we're going to gain something out of politics, but because we're going to offer things. But I would like to give an advice, if I may, to everyone, including myself. So I'm trying to think about it every day, that women, we do have a great opportunity to equally participate in the coming years in governance, in business, in everything, just because of the fact that we live in the information society. AI is in front of us, generative AI, robotics, and things like that. So new sections that do not require manpower and body powers. It's only about brain. So women, we excel in brain, and what we need to do is to educate ourselves better to participate in this new modern world. So AI and women should go hand by hand. That's one thing. And then, because Dimitris took the floor to say all these beautiful things, Dimitri, we do have a request from you, because you've been really a power in the Ministry of Environment, and you helped so much with the Ocean Conference. We were thinking with EPLO of organizing a panel in Belém, in Brazil. And since we have here like at least 2, 3, 4 countries together, we would like to organize an event. We have done that in Baku, right, on women and climate and the environment. So EPLO, Greece, and Cyprus and Bulgaria and the other countries, if you guys would like to sponsor this panel, this would be very important, because I would like to say that as we understood in the climate negotiations, only 10% of the negotiators are women. So don't really think that women equally participate in the world. No, we still lag behind, and we need to fill this gap. To do it 50-50. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this and for the piece of advice. That was the best conclusion. I would like to invite Maria Ianniou to take the floor and be the moderator of the next panel.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So I'm in front of a paradox here because I have to coordinate a panel, and I was asked to prepare some questions. So I have some questions for my panelists, but I know that since we are talking like that, so I suppose the best thing to do is to let you introduce what you want to share with the audience, and then if we have time, we can have a round of questions. So on my right, I have, if I pronounce it correctly, Rosica Kirova.
That's it.
Right, perfect Bulgarian accent.
Perfect.
Who was a deputy speaker at the National Assembly of the Republic of Bulgaria and is a political persona with gravitas in her country. And on my left, I have Kristalia Neophytou, okay, who is an entrepreneur, as I understand, and managing director of Kristalia Neophytou LLC, prominent figure in the entrepreneurship scene in Cyprus. So I welcome you both. And if you may, Ms. Kirova, you may start, and then we will follow with you.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here today. It's a great honor to participate in this event. In the recent years, for some political reasons probably, and because I entered politics, I had to participate many events on different topics connected with women, women in power, women political leaders, and I always tried to go away from the scenario because after the first few events I understood that we are very well aware what we should do. We probably know how to do it. We want to be united on the topic, but then after the panels finish, we are very eager to share our own stories. There is nothing better to explain how you can get into politics or how you can gain more power than sharing your personal experience, and that is what I'm going to do today. I would like to mention only that Europe is our home, united and beautiful. And it carries the name of one of the strong female Greek goddesses from the mythology. So Europe was considered for some as the mother of civilization, and for others it was considered as the embodiment of the connection between the different cultures. And today, on the Day of Europe, our Europe, on the 9th of May, I would like to remind you that the European Union was established as a union of cultures, a union of ideas, a union of equals. And this idea we can share this idea together in society and try to think if we are really equal with men. A few men left in the room, but yes, we live in a man's world. And this is something that I wouldn't change exactly as it sounds. I would try to show the man that we are more precious than they think of, and show it by personal example. So maybe I'm answering the previous question from the previous panel, how exactly can we do it? Well, starting with education. And then starting with personal example, because all of us, we are mothers. we give life. That is why we can preserve life. And educating our boys and our girls together, teaching them to respect each other and that they're not only equal, but they have their own values and they are different, because differences should be respected also. So this is how we can start. If we start educating our young generations in tolerance, in respect to each other, then we give a chance to women. And then probably, I will share you my experience. I was born in a very small town on the border, Serbian and Romanian border of Bulgaria. I was well educated. At my time, the quality of Bulgarian education was very high. I graduated in English language school in Vidin, and then I went to university, of course. So we lived poorly at that time. We had to recycle just by the idea that we had to use the clothes of our elder brothers and sisters, if we had such, because it was a difficult time at that moment. And there was nothing bad about it. So after graduating school, I had to start working in order to give opportunities to my family. I founded a family. I have a son and a daughter. I wanted to educate them well. And at that point, I realized that we're not equal. We do not have equal chances. Usually, men were chosen not because they were more clever, but because they were men. And a friend of mine who is very well-shaped and very strong, and he works for special services, so he says, probably you are running away from your physical education classes, and that's not true. I was not running away. I just decided to work more on my brain because I saw that there is something more that I can do about it. And at one point I understood that it was not enough. So I tried to look for people in civil society who decided to support the idea that we women can do more than society thinks about us. And I went into the private sector. I started working. I worked hard. I had the support of my family, of course. I took care of my kids. At one point, I started working with some civil organizations who really wanted to change the agenda of my region. Vidin is a very poor region, one of the poorest in Europe. It has been isolated for more than 35 years because of the lack of adequate infrastructure. And no matter that it has a great position, it didn't develop well economically. So I started with civil society, and that's what brought me into politics. We started some protests about adequate infrastructure. And at the end, we really gained what we wanted. We had an agreement with our government 7 years ago. And we really had all the issues that had to be done in order to make this project really possible. Now, after 4 years of instability of Bulgaria, seven governments, I've been 4 times deputy speaker of the parliament. For about 5 months, I've been a speaker of the parliament. And I've been on 7 elections. So it didn't give us a chance to finish what we started, but now, at this moment, the infrastructure that I wanted, that we in the region wanted, and I was the leader, the woman leader for that protests, has started to become real. And there are pieces and lots of our highway that are really happening. So during this time, I tried to gather more women around me. So now the governor of Vidin is a woman, and she is one of the best in Bulgaria. She is young. She is a doctor of political science. She is 33 years old. She has 3 kids, And she is a wonderful example how women can do better if there is someone who gives them a hand and takes them out from the environment where they really live. And this is my advice. The best thing that we can do is to give examples to the younger generations of girls and young women, and to help them to achieve their goals and to develop. Because this is the only way that we can unite together and make a difference. In my commission, I am a chairperson of a standing commission now, which is a commission on civil society, interaction with civil society. I work with a lot of NGOs and with a lot of women. And I try to encourage them to understand that even in cases with violence, in cases with abuse, they happen because you let them do. I do not say that they are not tragic accidents, but what we think of ourselves, how we behave really, is a reflection, is being reflected by the society around us. So we should believe more in ourselves. We should get a better education. We should support each other. And I can give you a lot of examples when women don't support each other, no matter that they are women on high positions in the European Union or in the local parliaments. And this should be changed. And this should be the aim of such gatherings, in order to show that there is a place for everybody under the sun. And if we help each other, we can be much stronger. And I don't know if I really, if I could show you how I think that we should behave. I'm ready to answer all the questions that are on the topic, because I know that I went away from the topic. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Kirova. I think it's very insightful to have all these personal experiences shared. And I'm going to keep from your talk two things. The first one is that we have to set the example. We have to have role models. We have to push women to become role models for younger women and for younger men as well. And the second one is the importance of networking and opening the door when we are at the top. Let's not forget that one of the stereotypes that women face is that they do not open the door once they get up at the top positions.
And
but
that's
you
the
showed
problem.
us, you showed us
we
that.
should do it.
Yes, we should open the door, and that's very important. Thank you so much. And I'm going to Crystalia. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I would like firstly to thank George Gremlis for this invitation and the EPLO. It is a great pleasure for me to be amongst very esteemed speakers, panelists, and all friends that they came to attend this celebration day, the European Day. It is a profound honor to speak in Athens, the cradle of democracy, a moment of celebration and resolve. Today, we are called not just to honor Europe's past, but to shape its future with clarity, courage, and conviction. We find ourselves in a period of historic transition. The certainties that defined the post-war order are fading. Global dynamics are shifting. Our transatlantic alliance, while still rooted in the shared values, has entered a new phase, one where Europe must assume far greater responsibility for its own destiny, for its security, its economic resilience, and above all, its democratic integrity. This is not a rupture, but a redefinition, a turning point where Europe must rise to protect the values that bind us: peace, dignity, pluralism, and solidarity. To succeed, we need a new vision. And this vision, women must not only be included, they must lead. Not as a gesture of fairness, but as a matter of strategic necessity. The first pillar of this new architecture that we have been discussing in this event It's the new architecture of security of Europe. Strategic autonomy has moved from a debate in Brussels to an urgent imperative in capitals across the continent, and women must be empowered to lead this transformation. Women are already reshaping defense policy. For example, in France, we have Florence Parly led the modernization of the armed forces with a strong focus on European collaboration. In NATO, women are heading cyber units and hybrid threat task forces. But this must go further. We need women leading European security councils and guiding EU-NATO cooperation. We must embed gender-inclusive strategy in EU rapid response forces, peacekeeping missions, and cyber defense frameworks. Defense academies and intelligence schools should build dedicated pipelines for female leadership, security that includes the insights, leadership, and experiences of women is more legitimate, more innovative, and more resilient. The second pillar that I would like to mention is the pillar of political cohesion. Europe is diverse and sometimes very divided. We have seen it lately with so many events where all European countries should agree, but unfortunately, we are not as united as we should. Therefore, political will, institutional structures, and social trust, we see that they are tested. Women in political leadership are proving to be bridge builders in a time of fragmentation. We refer to Ursula von der Leyen, Roberta Metsola, and others who show that women can unify institutions and communities through transparent and value-based leadership. Therefore, we should support treaty reforms that enable more agile decision-making, particularly in foreign and security policy. We shall expand the leadership programs and the cross-border political coalitions that empower women at municipal, national, and European levels, to include more women in EU accession negotiations, cross-party dialogue, and intergovernmental working groups. As we live in times of uncertainty, women are often the first to reach across borders and the last to give up on any dialogue. We must give them the tools and the trust to lead forward. Definitely, women can be the driving force of innovation and recovery. We refer to Maria Gabriel and the STEM program. But we need to go beyond representation and enable women to lead transformation. We need more investment platforms for women-led tech and green business enterprises. We need to expand access to public procurement and innovation grants for women entrepreneurs specifically. Because if you see in the business sector, women might be in the board of directors of these companies, as myself. I'm in fintech companies in a legal firm, but if you see the shareholding structure, most of them are men. So if women are successful, the shareholding structure doesn't let them to get the benefits of this success. Therefore, we shall empower women to become not only decision makers, but also to be the shareholders of these entrepreneurial efforts. We need to integrate gender budgeting into EU economic recovery and cohesion policy. Women must shape the future of AI, climate tech, digital infrastructure, not only as consumers or back office contributors, but as founders, regulators, and policymakers. Furthermore, we need to understand that Europe at the moment needs to reimagine its place in the world, not with nostalgia, but with strategic empathy. We need women leading diplomatic missions, trade deals, climate negotiations, and peace processes. Helga Schmid, as OSCE Secretary General, has shown what strategic values-driven diplomacy looks like. We need to appoint more women's ambassadors, EU special representatives, and high-level negotiators, strengthen diplomatic partnerships rooted in mutual trust and equity with Africa, Latin America, and Asia. Europe's soft power will be strongest when it reflects its diversity and depth. So, dear friends, my today's address, it's not about a potential, it's a call to action. We need to commit here in Athens, the city of democracy, to build a Europe that is not only sovereign and just, but also deeply and deliberately united. We need to secure that the future of Europe will not be based only, and will not be secured through fragmentation, hesitation, or parallel tracks. It will be secured through purposeful integration, through stronger institutions, shared sovereignty, and deeper political, economic, and social convergence. As we face the challenges of our generation, security threats, democratic erosion, climate crisis, and technological upheaval, we must strengthen the Union not only as a market or community of law, but as a cohesive political project, a project that acts decisively, speaks with one voice, and reflects the will of its citizens. We need to place women in the forefront and not beside the new architecture of Europe. Let us shape an EU that is worthy of its promise, resilient in its principles, and bold in its renewal.
Thank you, Ms. Neophytou. So you mentioned how important it is to include women in all levels, across sectors. And I have a question for both of you, if I may start with the questions. So one of the questions that I would like to ask you is what do women bring in leadership? Because we heard the word empathy, and we hear it a lot. Is it only empathy that's lacking in leadership nowadays? That's my first question. And the second question is, on your way towards leadership positions, what were the most common challenges that you had to face? Because it's important to talk about challenges, because we have women experiences that probably men do not understand, not because they cannot, but because they don't share our experiences. So what are the challenges that you have faced? If you want to go first, Ms. Kiroma.
Okay, thank you. I will start with the challenges. There are a lot. And frankly speaking, because we celebrate a lot of percentages and growth of women into politics, into European Parliament, and local governments, my dear ladies, this should not make you very happy, because these are just numbers, and usually the decision makers are not exactly women. And I am sorry, I do not want to spoil the day of Europe, no matter that we have women on the global positions. Take a look at the Council of Ministers of the member states, and then we should discuss again the percentages. And that's quite a different story. So we should be frank with ourselves. If we want to have these challenges and to be able to make the next step and not only talk about challenges, then we should see the true picture, and the true picture is not so pinky as it should be. It's not, no, it should be red. It should make us angry sometimes. And this is something good. I have had a lot of challenges on my way. The truth is that I think that in many respects I have done better than all the men surrounding me in the group where I represent my region. But just because I was a woman, you know, when you're smaller than them, just physically. When you're more polite and sometimes better educated and you do not want to interrupt, when you do not behave like a bully, and sometimes men do, then they somehow try to hush you. If they succeed or not, it depends on you. And the biggest problem is that we try according to our, how to say, our understanding that we should have more women into politics. We start pushing young ladies who are not exactly ready and do not have the experience to deal with situations like this. And the ladies that have more experience do not want to help, or they try not to see their hardness. So first of all, maybe what helped me is the very history of my life. I have coped with a lot of things myself. I have been very ambitious and very energetic even as a kid. I have done a lot of things, and I worked 30 years in private sector, and I succeeded, and I'm well respected in my region. So when I entered the parliament, I didn't let anyone tell me what to do and how to do it. And usually, when you start a conversation and you show a man or the ones that are in power that you really know what you're doing, that you have experience, that you can manage processes, they start listening. I was a deputy speaker of the parliament, and my speaker, who is a very good friend of mine anyways, and I have done all the difficult decisions. I have led all the decisions that were difficult for him because we had to take care for the speaker at that time because he's now a prime minister. He was usually turning his chair like that and speaking to the other deputy speaker, who was just a man from a party he despised. A man he didn't respect, but it was a man talk.
Yep. I think that shapes
And I think this shapes everything. So you should manage with a lot of things, and you should find a way, if you're in a situation like mine, to show him that this is not polite. And it's not good for a man who thinks that he should be respected. And it's not always easy to do it. And sometimes they remember it for a long time. But this is human. So there have been a lot of hardships, but the real thing that really helped me to overcome this is seeing a lot of young women and girls around me, because I have a team of people like that, start making their own name in society and on the political grounds, and being themselves an example. And it took me about 10 years to shape this. I started with a civil organization in my hometown, and many of them are on different positions now, and we help each other, and they still come to me for advice, and I try to help. So being together and sharing experience is the first step forward. And then I think that men should fear women, because if we come to an edge, we are unpredictable. Let them know this. Be their friends, but let them know this, and it will change the picture.
Thank you so much. So how about, so we heard about the challenges, very provocatively, but how about what women bring to leadership? Do they only bring empathy or other characteristics as well?
They do say empathy or emotional intelligence whatsoever. A competent person, no matter whether it is a man or a woman, it's all about competency, skill set, mindset, vision. You cannot differentiate a visionary person based on by gender. It's as simple as that. But it's the inhibitions. If you see the role models throughout the history, they think the woman as Mother Teresa,
the caregiver,
and a man as Alexander the Great.
Yeah, that's true.
So the problem is the inhibitions and the way that we have been brought up to think about gender, about the role in society. We have progressed a lot, but still, you see that if you go to the bank and to ask them that you want to raise finance for a very big project, and you are a woman, and you say, here is a deal, these are my audited financial statements, this is a history of my company, I'm 40-year-old, I need this loan. 90% you're gonna face a banker who is a man. He's gonna ask you, are you married? How many kids do you have? Why do you want to do this project?
I'm going to give birth again.
And he will think 10 times before thinking you as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who is credible to complete the project. So you see, we see these hardships, these difficulties in our everyday life, and although when we make, you know, the, we need to, we don't say whether a company should be, you know, the shareholder a woman or a man, or when it comes to reality, you see that the reaction is very much different. It's changing, but it takes time, and it takes more women to be active, whether in politics, successfully though. Successfully, because you know, if you take, not everyone can be successful. Sometimes when you're a woman, the burden to prove yourself is so much higher than an average man. So there are a lot of things. I mean, we need to prove. We need to show when we are given an opportunity that we deserve it, not because we are women or because somebody is a man. Everything has to be decided on merits.
Let me just something. Something more about the challenges. There is an artificial intellect and the social media that is so easily to make you, to shape the idea of you, sometimes by fake news, by a lot of abuse. If you know the statistics, this affects women politicians 5 times more than it affects men. And it's very skillfully used by PR specialists. They're among us, and they use it against women just because they want to win elections and to help their own party, for example. And this is something that happens, and it is a very big challenge that we are going to face with. We are already facing it, but we should really know that this affects women more, and if we don't strive to change the perception of women in society, starting from our kids, from education, from the younger generation, it will be very difficult to change it, really, because many years, even from ancient times, no matter that we had matriarchies once upon a time, the perception of women and the way you can abuse women is quite different from doing it to men. And we should be aware of that in order to skip it and not let it happen.
Thank you. So I would like to thank you both for your insightful comments. And yeah. So I am told that there is plenty of food and wine at the buffet where we can carry on the conversation.
Okay.
Probably say a few words before we close.
And thank you very much, Mr. Kramnis, for gathering us all here.
I will speak from sit, please. Be seated. I just wanted to thank you all on behalf of the European Public Law Organization and of the Institute of Circular Economy and Climate that I have the pleasure and the privilege to lead. I do believe that this was a very successful and a very interactive event. I would like to thank the two NGOs that have collaborated in the organization of this event. More Women in Power, and I see a lot already in power, and more that will come in power in the future. More to come, and I do believe that this is the message, one of the messages to convey. And of course, Women Act with all the important activities that you are performing. Congratulations, and I wish to both NGOs a lot of success. We are also there as EPLO to support you, because we do believe that gender equality is extremely important. And listening to you both and to your personal experiences, which I believe are extremely important, and also the personal experiences of the previous panel, I realized that in politics, in women politics, there is less nepotism. Do you understand me? Because in men's politics, you are the son of a former president, the son of a prime minister. You have a career, you have a perspective. Because you are a male, you are a son. Okay, there have been some exceptions. We had the minister, Mitsotakis, she was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, but there is less nepotism, number one. Number two, I think the combination of the experience of the private sector with politics is extremely important, because Rosita, who is a very successful politician, has come from the private sector. And this is extremely important, because if you start in politics from the youth component of a political party, you don't have this real experiences of life. You are in this, as we call it, political party pipeline, whereas being in the private sector, you understand real life. I do believe that we need a new gender culture, and you have all referred to this new gender culture, that in a family where you have boys and girls, the message needs to be the same. I would even encourage to reply to the young lady there, the young girls to be more involved in politics, and men to do more heavy works that we do need nowadays, and where we do not find workforce. So women to be the brains and men to be those who will perform. It's not an exaggeration. Another remark that I wanted to make is that in the history of humanity, there were no women dictators or women that have abused of their power. Of course, you will tell me that there were less women. If there were more, probably things would have been different. But still, this is an important element, because humanity and ethics and other values are more present in women. And of course, when I was referring to no women dictators, I was thinking of Evita Peron, for example, or Jeanne d'Arc, or some other women who have contributed in a different way in establishing the values against the totalitarian regime and being the voices of the civil society. Just to let you know, because I know that you all need a drink now after such a brainstorming, that this event was also supported by the Bulgarian Hellenic Chamber of Commerce of Bulgaria, based in Sofia, and President Karafilidis. The event is recorded. We have there Justino, who is the IT of the EPLO. It will be uploaded on the website of the EPLO, and you will find it also in YouTube. So please, once you find it, share it to convey this good message that we have all shared today. And my last remark, Europe, if it didn't exist, we should have discovered it. A lot of people now are criticizing Europe and are, let's say, complaining that because of Europe, the prices have increased or the quality of our life is affected. All this is not true. Without Europe, we would have had wars in the European continent. We wouldn't have had peace. We have peace. We have the rule of law. We have human rights. We have gender equality. We have all the values that we deserve to have. All the planet is jealous of Europe. We are not very strong in terms of arms and of defense. This is why we do not have a strong voice, because in
Europe is a woman on the
indeed, and this is very important on the Taurus, on the Jews. You see. Yeah. So I don't need to say more because everything have been said. I would like simply to repeat Happy Europe Day and more women voice and involvement in the European integration process, which is to be continued. We have ahead the enlargement, and I wanted to say, if Ukraine were a member state of the European Union, it wouldn't have been invaded by Russia. So I am in favor of the enlargement. Of course, we need to deepen our house. We need a new treaty. But in that respect, all women, all men, or young people, because youth is also very important, need to join their voices to have a better and stronger Europe. Thank you very much. Cocktails upstairs on the first floor.